It's a well-known fact that Disney animators are some of the best in the world, but we just found out about some hidden messages in Disney movies that never made sense. Until now. Animators and writers love to hide little hints and secrets within the animation of Disney movies, and audiences have been on the hunt for these sneaky messages forever. Hidden in plain sight for decades, we can't believe we didn't see these subtle clues and secrets until today. One of our favorite characters in Moana is definitely Hei Hei the rooster, even if he isn't the sharpest tool in the shed.
It's okay.
Early on during an encounter with a villager, the man points out that Hei Hei is hilariously trying to eat a rock and suggests that, because of his lack of intelligence,
should we maybe just cook him?
In a hilarious detail we only just noticed, later on in the movie, Hei Hei tries to eat Maui, who is voiced by, yup, The Rock.
The gods have given me a man!
We always found it a little weird that in The Little Mermaid, Prince Eric believed that the dark-haired version of Ursula was the real woman who saved him from drowning. But since we realized this new detail, the whole situation actually makes a lot more sense. When Ariel saves Eric and sings Part of Your World to him, he only wakes up enough to get one good look at her, and in that moment the sun is shining brightly behind her, making it look like her hair is actually dark brown. So it's a lot more believable that he would have mistaken Ursula in her human form for Ariel. One tiny detail that we totally missed from the very beginning of Mulan makes her victories over the Huns even more epic. During this song, Honor to Us All, Mulan is told that a girl can bring her family great honor in one way, by striking a good match. We always assumed it meant finding a good husband, but there is a whole other, way better meaning. Both of Mulan's victories over the Huns, first by causing an avalanche and second by defeating Shan Yu using a firework, are from lighting fires, aka striking a good match.
I am ready, baby!
We all know that Mother Gothel was the real villain in Tangled, but one little moment we never noticed really affirmed the one thing that Gothel really loved about Rapunzel. After her song Mother Knows Best, she appears to kiss Rapunzel goodbye and tell her that she loves her the most. But if you look carefully, you can see that she's actually kissing Rapunzel's hair and saying I love you to her golden locks.
You are not leaving this tower! Ever!
There would have been no Genie in Aladdin without the genius of Robin Williams. He was such a part of the character that they actually made a very sneaky reference to the actor in the animation of the movie. When Genie is getting excited about finally being free and heading off on vacation, he wears a bright yellow Hawaiian shirt and a goofy hat. It was the exact same outfit that Williams wore in a 1989 short film, Back to Neverland.
I'm out of here! Bye-bye, you two crazy lovebirds!
Kristoff has some interesting beliefs in Frozen, and one that is so outlandish that the filmmakers felt the need to clarify that they don't agree with him. In the movie, Kristoff suggests that all men eat their own boogers, which, ew. And at the very end of the credits, you can see that they actually included a note from the production team stating that they don't share his viewpoints. And honestly, we're glad to hear it.
All men do it.
Ew.
In Tangled, the king and queen started an annual lantern festival after their daughter went missing, hoping that the lights would guide her home. When Rapunzel sees the festival for the first time, she reaches out and pushes a lantern into the sky. That lantern is actually the only one with the royal symbol on it, meaning that it came from the palace. While subtle, it hints that she is finding her way back home. You wouldn't think that there would be any connection between Aladdin and Mulan, but you'd be wrong. In Aladdin, as Aladdin is trying to woo Jasmine with the help of Genie disguised as a bee, he lists off a number of desirable qualities like wonderful, magnificent, glorious, and
Punctual. Sorry.
Years later in Mulan, as she is writing down qualities that a husband looks for in a wife, she ends with, you guessed it,
Punctual.
Disney animators are some of the best in the world, and it's all in the details. When it came to designing all of the animals that Maui would transform into for Moana, they made sure to hide in one very specific element that only the most eagle-eyed fans would notice. Every time Maui transforms, if you look closely, you can see that his hook is included somewhere in the animal's markings. Animation is a great way for filmmakers to sneak important details into their character designs that tell us so much about who the character is. In The Lion King, one hidden message is the way Scar was a warning all along. Most cats, including the big ones, keep their claws retracted until they need to use them. But if you look carefully at Scar, you'll see that his claws are always out, meaning that he's defensive and angry and always ready to fight.
And you couldn't even dispose of them.
Ego from Ratatouille starts out as just a ruthless food critic. But one detail that we barely noticed the first time around shows just how much he has changed by the end. One of his famous lines is,
"If I don't love it, I don't swallow."
And at the beginning of the movie, it's clear he hasn't enjoyed or swallowed food in a really long time. But when we see him at the end, after having his life changed by the delicious ratatouille, he looks much healthier, happier, and like he actually swallows his food now. Good for him! In one quick scene in The Incredibles, we see two old men talking about the super family and complimenting them on being old school. It turns out that those two old men were actually animated versions of real-life Disney animators Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston, who worked on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937. Their line about preferring the old school style refers to their older, non-computer generated style of animation, and the throwbacks in The Incredibles that harken back to that time.
That's the way to do it. That's old school.
In The Princess and the Frog, we met one of the coolest and creepiest Disney villains ever, Dr. Facilier. During his song Friends on the Other Side, whenever his shadow is cast on the patterned wallpaper, the pattern changes to a skull and bones, almost like an X-ray. Because Dr. Facilier is a witch doctor and has connections with the dead, or friends on the other side as he puts it, the shadows are a subtle but super creepy way of letting us know how serious he is.
Don't you disrespect me, little man!
Hercules is filled with amazing details about ancient Greek mythology, but this one flew right over our heads. When entering Phil's crowded cabin, the teenaged Hercules hits his head on a big log hanging in the room. While it seems like a throwaway joke, it's actually a reference to another Greek myth in which Jason, the captain of a ship called the Argo, met his end when the ship's mast broke and hit him on the head.
The Argo?
Kid, who do you think taught Jason how to sail?
During the iconic song Friend Like Me in Aladdin, the genie sings a line that goes like this: "While Ali Baba had them 40 thieves, Scheherazade had 1,000 tales." We totally missed it when we were kids, but Scheherazade was actually a character and narrator of a very well-known Middle Eastern collection of short tales called 1001 Nights. Can you guess what one of those tales is? Yep, Aladdin.
Now I know I'm dreaming.
We don't know about you, but we're suddenly overcome with the urge to go back and rewatch all of our favorite Disney movies. We think we'll be starting with Mulan. We can never get enough of our favorite female warrior. What movie are you in the mood to watch?